Hi, Carl Gasso here. Welcome to Gasso Gathers. And I hope now you can hear me because I made sure I did what I didn't do in the last video, which was plug in the mic. Oops, right? Oops. So basically, what happened was I filmed a whole video with the first half of this 1995 hobby box, and naturally, right at the end of it, when I went to start gathering everything up, is when I realized, oops, the mic wasn't actually plugged in. And of course, I had that moment of panic where I wondered if any of the audio got recorded. But then I remembered it would have. The camera itself has an audio mic, but I knew that it was the levels were going to be super low because of the fact that they were set up for the mic. So, I decided ultimately, part of me wasn't sure if I was even going to upload it, but in the spirit of what this entire process which is it's a learning process. I'm learning cards. I'm learning YouTube. I think it was fine. I think it was absolutely fine. The way I also figured it, if the YouTube algorithm could figure out what I was saying with the closed captioning and the transcripts, then, I was all right. And, when I put on the headphones and, obviously you'd have to put the volume all the way up, but I could still hear myself, pretty clearly. It is a bit of a trial of a video, though, unfortunately. That probably would have been actually one of my favorite videos if it wasn't for that little accident, that little faux pas. But hey, that's the entire point of this whole process. You're watching me learn almost in real time. And that's just, how things go. But that's one of those mistakes where it gives you that panic enough to where, you're not going to make that mistake again, or at least I hope to think so. But all right, let's get right back into this. We did the last video. We did the first half of this 1995 Series 2 MLB hobby box. The second little bit of a whatever outside the major audio issue was the fact that, again, the whole point and reason why I'm making these hobby boxes two-parters is because of the fact that they're so big, and I don't want these videos going for, an hour. And the last video still ended up being 40 minutes. But, again, that's a little, the one problem I ended up having was this is not actually a normal hobby box. This is what's called a power pack. And that it doesn't just have to do with the foil stamped Spectralite 94 Cyberstats, which I kind of thought this was kind of mainly for. It's also because, this is not just a hobby box. It's the power pack refers to the amount of cards that are in it, and it's almost got it's almost double what a normal hobby box is. So that's why this is also going on for so long. So these are the two of my favorite cards I ripped so far from that. Both Padres. That's just neat stuff. I like those. So we're gonna get right into this, and ultimately, some of these hobby boxes aren't necessarily the exact same. So that problem is basically going to be rectified as we're going to just, we're just going to see how it goes. If I start going over 20 minutes, then I'll just end it. And if it has to be a three-parter, then we'll just do a three-parter. No big deal. So that's just how I'm just going to do that. Because again, I just really want to get these videos down to approximately 20 minutes. That's just the amount of time that I think that I'm worth right now. I don't think I've built the 40-50 minute audience just yet. That's the other thing that's funny about the last video. I guess maybe the way I presented it or something, it seemed to have actually piqued an interest in people. The amount of views spiked faster than the previous two, which again is just my luck that I figure something out that I get some views on, and naturally that's when it's like the one video that it's not my greatest moment, but as I said in the description, it's just one of those things. It could have been worse. It could have been like a total wash where the audio was completely unsalvageable. And ultimately, obviously, there's ways to deal with that as well. I'm not into editing or doing anything crazy right now, but I mean, that's just something where that's where editing software comes in, right? And then I could have just did an audio, put a new audio track over that, right? But I don't want to have to get into that right now. These videos, to me, the way that I'm going about doing it is it's kind of like a pseudo live performance, right? It's all what you're seeing. There's no cuts. It's just me going on for how long. That's also another reason why I don't want these going on for 40 minutes. Just like I don't really have that much to say at any given time specifically. But this is just, this is what we're doing. And I hope if anyone for the first time saw my video for the last one, I hope if I've piqued your interest then, you gave me enough of another chance to finish this off, and you can see how I really sound, whether that's a good or bad thing, and you kind of understand the spirit of what we're trying to do here. So thanks again for coming back. This card got a little wrecked. It's a little rough on the corner there, but it's a nice one, Bobby Bonilla. I don't know if we remember if we had that same one before, but and as I said in the last video, also what kind of eats up time is the fact that I can't really go through these equally in the same amount of time, because a lot of these are stuck together, and I want to give it the appropriate, I don't want to just rip them up. I want to give them the appropriate, it's a nice one. It's a nice one. Little Greg Jeffries signing for the fans. That's cool. So we're talking 1995 again. 95. I was 9 years old, between 8 and 9, and a lot of big things that happened in my life, like 96, like 95, 96 was kind of when I started, growing into a little person, and I had some, great memories from that time. One of the greatest Halloweens I ever had as a kid. That was just one of those Halloweens where everything was vibing, right? Like, I loved my costume. I was a little acid demon, Grim Reaper type character. That night I had, after doing my trick-or-treating, being that I was a kid, and then my parents treated me to a little adulthood by taking me to my aunt and uncle's nightclub, where they had a comedy act, where they had stand-up comedians going on. So I got to sit in the corner of the dark nightclub while everyone else was drinking, and hear and listen to dirty jokes. And then I went home and watched the VHS tape that was recording MTV all night, because it was showing the Kiss Unplugged. Sorry, I like that too. It's a nice one. These are this is an example of the cyber stats. Again, the novelty of the internet seeping in. Awesome. And then, I watched my VHS recording of, it was Kiss MTV Unplugged, and then it was the Beavis and Butthead Halloween special. So, a real banger of a year for Halloween. Which is, one of my favorite. I love the holidays in general, but, the great thing about Halloween is you basically, you're celebrating it in your own way all month, right? Like, you're not, especially when you get older, like, it's not about the trick-or-treating anymore. It's about the experiences leading up to the holiday, right? You're doing haunted houses and the hay rides and the pumpkin patches. You're going to different stores and looking at costumes and decorations and stuff. That's all part of the experience, and you don't necessarily have to celebrate it with your family. Which, that's not that we don't love our family, but that's a stress in its own that you don't necessarily have to have on Halloween, as opposed to the other holidays like Thanksgiving and Christmas, where the whole point is to sit down to dinner with them, right? Nice little attitude card right there. Was he pointing at? I wouldn't want to be who he's pointing at. Definitely have a lot of repeaters in these packs. There you go. As I said. But definitely some really interesting. These are definitely some of the most like interesting like poses and different variety. So from the ones that we don't have that are necessarily repeating, we have a nice little variety of different stuff. You have stretching there, autographs here. So that's cool. As I also said last video, I made my first card sale. You know, I'm doing this right now for just giving myself a crash course in collecting cards. I'm doing it for the love of nostalgia, for kind of the sake of doing this, reminiscing, appreciating stuff that I wasn't in at the time. You know, kind of going back, creating that foundation that I had. That's a neat Marlins jersey, Nigel Wilson. But hey, I do want to know what I have, right? And if I'm going to have all these cards, there's absolutely no reason, especially so many doubles, there's no reason not to see if they're worth, of what they're worth, and, you know, if they're worth anything. And yeah, why not, right? So I put a few cards up, and so far I had one bite, and not bad. Nothing crazy. You know, I'm not going to be quitting my day job over this, but yeah, why not? But I definitely, you know, I wouldn't say that I have the bite, right? I wouldn't say I like, now I have now that's you know, I'm just so into that now, where I'm like, every card I'm like, is this worth anything? Is this, you know, I think I knew right off the bat, considering the player, I knew it was going to be something, right? Like, you don't need to be like a baseball expert to know, like, oh, what type of card and who's going to end up selling, you know, given the right price. But I definitely also, you know, try and put in a little effort when it comes to the research of, you know, what cards from this era were, you know, if anything, you know, worth anything. And we have a couple of advantages right now in that respect, because, like, obviously I'm not going to go through every single card, you know, to check on, you know, whether it's worth $5 instead of $150. But if you know, what we do have now is not just the ability to search basic things like, oh, you know, what is the most valuable card to come out of the Topps Series 2 1995 baseball line. We also have, you know, the AI edge, where, you know, like ChatGPT and stuff, where you can actually just specifically put into the prompt, like, oh, what is the most valuable card, or what are the most sought after cards from this line, and it'll give you like a pretty decent it'll bring you to a pretty decent sources of knowledge on that. And, you know, it cuts a lot of work out, you know, where you're not kind of like looking at every single card, where it'll just say, hey, if you if you by any chance come across a something something whatever, or somebody or whatever, you know, that's gonna be worth some. That's gonna be worth some money. So, like I said, I right now have a finite amount of these boxes. The past few months, I kind of shopped around. I got some very nice, you know, prices. I like they're all Series 2 boxes, and I just found that between the era versus you know, the era versus the price range, that's just kind of where everything fell to a nice little balance of you know, amount of, you know, the money that I was ooh, this is very cool. Mike Piazza, LA Dodgers. I like that a lot. We're gonna put that to the side. I am a Mets fan. I'm a big fan of just the New York baseball kind of legacy and history in general. I'm a big history guy, as I've mentioned, and New York baseball is just a very unique and special. Has its a very unique and special history, and anything regarding it, even if I don't necessarily like the team or whatever, it does matter to me. You know, like I consider myself a Mets fan first and foremost, but I don't hate the Yankees. I also genuinely I appreciate the San Francisco Giants because of their history here, and the LA Dodgers for that matter. And you also see a lot of these kind of curious. You also see a lot of like these curious coincidences with, you know, all of these teams. They always end up a lot of times playing each other. Players come. Hold on, Matt Williams, nice. They'll come from each other's teams. You know, it's just this very interesting kind of dynamic that these teams have always shared with each other. So, you know, New York Mets, New York Yankees, LA Dodgers, San Francisco Giants. I think, you know, it's like this continental-wide history that these teams all share with each other from the same history. Bernie Williams, let's go. Speaking of Yankees, I love Bernie Williams as a kid. My father is a Yankees fan, so I grew up really, if I was watching baseball, it was predominantly going to be for the Yankees. I kind of came into my own and, you know, started liking or, you know, appreciating other teams, and eventually landing on the Mets as like my home team. But so, like, all right, at this point we're 18 minutes in, and I'm definitely going to finish this off. I'm definitely going to finish this box off. But now with this knowledge that, you know what, no matter what, these boxes may run a little longer, I would be definitely that's a good pose, Larry Walker. I'll definitely look into once I start a box, I'll look into seeing how many cards there are versus how much time is going, and then I'll make a judgment call there as to when I'm going to cut it off, and maybe it'll be just two-parters. I think for these regular hobby boxes, the two-parters should still be okay, but you know, I'm not going to force it. I really don't want to be having to sit here for 40 minutes because, again, I don't feel like it's really necessary, especially considering I'm just starting out. I'm not, you know, getting, you know, I'm not like investing money into like into advertising this channel or anything right now. So like, you know, I'm not aggressively building viewers or subscribers at the moment. I'm just kind of doing my thing, and, you know, for the people who have been watching, if you have been watching multiple times, then I appreciate that. I appreciate you checking me out, and that's all I ask for, really. At the end, I'll tell you how you can support me a little more if that's how you see fit, but I always purposely leave that right now at the end of the video, because it's like this is not something I would in any way, shape, or form expect so soon, and doing content that is so clearly amateur hour. But, you know, but with that said, I think that's my next video. I'm going to take a little break from the cards and talk about something that I actually have a little more knowledge in. I'm going to start incorporating my other collections and my other hobbying that I do have a little bit more of a, or I would say honestly a lot more of a kind of knowledge on. I think I'm ready. I think at this point in the journey, I'm ready to start bringing in a little bit more of the other stuff that I'm into. But like I said, everything is connected with history. It's all about retro or vintage collectibles. It's about history books. And then history books will bring me into talking about history, into talking about other media. So I'm excited for the future of what I'm going to do with this channel. And if there was anything that kind of came out of making the mistake that I did last time, it's the fact that it wasn't at all disconcerting. I mean, it was disappointing. Like I want obviously everything to be done right, since I'm really not doing that much. Like I'm not doing editing and a million little edits, and I'm not putting in music or anything like that. I'm doing a very, very raw, bare bones type video. So obviously I want to get something as simple as the audio correct, obviously. But the first thing I thought of wasn't like, why am I even doing this? It was the opposite. It was, I can't wait to get back on and do a better video. So I think that's a pretty good, sorry, I just felt like paranoid that these are sticking together. I think that's a pretty good attitude to have. I think that's the right attitude to have. It's, I take a step back. I want to take a bunch of steps forward immediately, Big stretch. It's like my cat, big stretch. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 packs left, and we're at 22 minutes. Oh boy. So, if anything, the turning point now for this channel is going to be no more running too long. I think I've opened enough of these packs to have a Brennan Williams again. I think I've opened enough of these packs to have an understanding of, enough of the oops, I'm running late again. I'll just now have enough of a lot of doubles again. I'll just now know I'll have enough of a consciousness of how this goes that I'll just cut it off, and we'll make it a 3-parter if need be. But honestly, this is the thickest box I have, so I probably won't need to do that. But there are people who enjoy a longer video anyway, so I hope you enjoy these. As I said in the first video, this is not really meant to be ASMR specific, but I think that there is that dynamic going on, even with guys who rip these cards who are clearly not doing that at all. I think just hearing the pack rip, hearing the cards and how they're handled, I think they have an innate quality. Like you see a genre within itself of ASMR is unintentional ASMR, and then you have people making intentional ASMR videos that mimic unintentional videos that end up being ASMR centric, right? And those videos tend to run longer anyway, so Whatever is enjoyable, I think. Darryl Strawberry, sweet. When he was on the Giants, there you go. See, this is what I'm talking about. You have a Darryl Strawberry on the Giants. You have a Mike Piazza on the Dodgers. They both become legendary Mets fans. This is kind of like, this is the thesis I'm working out in real time. There is a spiritual connection between all these teams and their history. So there you go. Maybe I'll inspire someone to write a term paper. Well, actually, Darryl Strawberry went to the Giants after becoming a Mets fan. Like, okay, whatever. We understand. I understand the point. All right, we're coming on 27 minutes here. And we have 3 more packs. So just going to go through these and finish this up. Not that I'm rushing this. Now, obviously, I've surrendered for this video that it's going to, again, not be my target time, but a lot of these are just this, we're getting a lot of repeaters. Paul O'Neill. Very nice. And you get to your cyber stats of Paul O'Neill. My Mets tonight did not win. They're having a meh series with the Diamondbacks after they had a bleh series with St. Louis. But, they're going to have a slump now. Let it be now so they can figure it out. I'd rather that be the case than them having a slump, when it counts. Like a certain New York hockey team did last year, and then completely and totally slanted off this year. When it comes to back office stuff, I kind of know my place as a fan. Like, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I have some special wisdom, but like, I don't know. Sullivan as a coach and maybe Tortorella as the assistant coach with the Rangers, it's like, it's just a revolving door, right? Like, it's just, is there any new blood that we can get in there? But we'll see. As long as if they win, they win, right? That's all that matters. Last pack. Here we go. Don Mattingly. That's a sweet card. I like that. I said, very, hold on. Very gentle. Yeah, you know, I'll say, oh, I'm a Mets fan, but I've been getting very excited at the Yankee players because actually this was the little that I did watch baseball when I was this young. It was the Yankees because my father. You know, I just don't get how people could like. I mean, obviously, I don't blame people for hating the Yankees after like the 2000 World Series or like stuff like that. But it's like still, it's like, you know, these rivalries is what makes the game awesome. So same thing with like the Rangers and the Devils. Like the rivalries is why it's fun. So why are we sitting here and pretending that we're like hating these teams? If these teams didn't exist, it wouldn't be so fun. And that little childish statement I just make will be the end of the video. So thanks so much, guys. This was the 1995 Hobby Box. Thank you so much for staying with me. If you want to give me a little extra support, I am an independent author on Amazon. I have so far 3 books in an ongoing series called the Greater Region series. And so Carl Gasso on Amazon. Check that out. And thanks again for your support. I appreciate it. Everybody have a good one. See you in the next video. I hope you enjoyed the audio because we're keeping with it. We're staying with this audio and not making stupid mistakes. So thank you.